cushion and you feel like you're rich, you know?
It's funny because when a script is great, there's no praise, really. Because I don't know if you guys have the same feeling about writing, but like praise seems empty, but criticism seems real. So if like when there's a really good script, you're like, okay, yeah, that's your job to turn in a good script. Great. Now let's just do our cursory pass and get it ready for the table read. There's no moment of like, hey, everyone. And then a bad script, it's like so much more like there were good parts. Diplomacy, by the way, is something that when you're an angry member of a staff feeling righteous all the time, Greg would just let you do whatever you want. But then when you become the boss, you are like, oh, that trait when you're an underling makes you a tyrant as a boss. Yeah, so you have to that was one thing is when work isn't what you want, it's sort of finding the good in it and doing all those things that you've read about in textbooks and things like that.
World of comedy, and I don't know, it's just, your story's impressive, and
That's so nice of you, because I have met a lot of comedians, I've been interviewed by a lot of comedians where there's this outdated viewpoint of this feeling that you have to be desperately unhappy and have had a kind of a bad relationship with your family or everyone around you growing up. And to be funny, and if you don't do that, if you don't express that in your art, or if you didn't experience that and want to luxuriate in that you're somehow not legit or the real deal. And I love just breaking that notion because it's outdated. And it's I think it's a residual from 80s, early 90s road comic mentality. But I just love that there's this new type of comedian that's out there that is completely not this older stereotype.
I think you would have gotten different advice from a woman.
Craig's advice to me that was the most valuable, especially going on to my own show, was be kind, is what he said to me.
Be kind.
And that might be kind of Mindy specific because I think many of you maybe face the same things, is what makes you professionally successful is not necessarily what makes you personally successful. And what I found has helped me professionally is to be very decisive. And being decisive is often considered a very masculine quality.
Yes, we were going to talk about that.
Right.
Yep.
And so professionally, I'm not very demure. I know exactly what I want and I say it. Now, often when you're being direct and decisive, it can seem brusque.
Yes.
I don't put a lot of disclaimers on what I say. Yes. I say I want this, I want that. And so when he said to be kind, I think what he meant, and this is at least I've interpreted it, is that it's fine to be decisive, and every woman should be, and we shouldn't go out of our way to be more demure than a male counterpart. I will say, though, remembering in that same time to show kindness to people who are maybe nervous to talk to you and get an answer from you has been invaluable.
Sort of my advice to that, or my reaction to that is, it is very important to be expressive in so much that no one should ever be stopping you from saying what you need to say, or you should never have that fear. However, I think as a young person, it's equally important, if not more important, to be perceptive and to be sensitive. And I feel like we don't talk about that a lot because we feel like the only way to show that we're empowered is by speaking it. And I think that, when I was growing up, I really thought that what my parents taught me was I didn't talk until I was 15 years old. I was pretty much silent, which no one believes. And it's because I just was listening and paying attention to what everyone was saying and trying to have a good social IQ, which I think helped me which helped me later to become a good writer. And I think that is the one biggest thing, is to really, to listen to others more than necessarily putting such a premium on being able to say what you feel. 2 years in, I think we can pretty safely say that he's not getting carved onto Mount Rushmore, but damn if that is not a testament to how far you can get by just by believing that you are the smartest, most successful person in the world. Okay? My point is, you have to have insane confidence in yourself, even if it's not real. You need to be your own cheerleader now, because there isn't a room full of people waiting with pom-poms to tell you, you did it. We've been waiting all this time for you to succeed. So I'm giving you permission to root for yourself. And while you're at it, root for those around you too. It took me a long time to realize that success isn't a zero-sum game, which leads me to the next part of my remarks. I thought I might take a second to speak to the ladies in the audience. Guys, take a break. You don't have to pay attention during this part. Maybe spend the next 30 seconds thinking about all the extra money you'll make in your life for doing the same job as a woman. Pretty sweet. It's such a good question, but it's also, I was always born with this delusional feeling that I could do anything, given to that was instilled in me in my parents. And if you don't, you're not lucky enough to have parents who give you outsized confidence as a kid. God, because girls face so many challenges and people are constantly telling them they can't do things, they can't be funny, they can't run companies. My advice is always just like, not to focus on anyone telling you can't do anything or the politics of your situation, but to just focus on the situation. It's sort of to think of yourself as not a woman, not a minority, not skinny, not whatever. Just think about like your art or the thing you want to do, because you can get caught up. I can get caught up. I could spend my entire life doing panels on being a chubby woman of color writing a TV show. And it would be useful to some people, but then I wouldn't be writing my TV show. And all my competition, all the white men who are doing the same thing as me are not doing those panels. They're just getting better and better and better at their job. And so for me, the only advice I ever give women is like, we want to support each other without distracting each other. And it's just like, heads down, work really hard, pretend your parents don't they lock you in the third room of whatever, and just like do your work. Bright, ambitious, and really, really into the Black Eyed Peas. I arrived here as a 17-year-old, took the lay of the land, and immediately began making a checklist of everything I wanted to accomplish. I told myself that by the time I graduated in 2001, I would have checked them all off. And here is my freshman fall checklist. Be on Hanover crew, be on Lodge crew, be in an a cappella group, be in an improv troupe, write a play that's performed at the Bentley, and do a cartoon for the D, and try to be in a cool senior society. And guess what? I completed that checklist. But before you think, wait, why is this woman just bragging about her accomplishments from 17 years ago? Keep listening. Then I graduated, and I made a new checklist for my 20s. Get married by 27, have kids at 30, win an Oscar, be the star of my own TV show, host the MTV Music Awards. This was 2001, guys, it made more sense then. And do it all while being a size 2. Well, spoiler alert, I've only done one of those things, and I'm not sure I will ever do the others. And that is a really scary feeling, knowing how far that I've strayed from the person that I was hoping to be when I was 21. So I just want to tell you guys, don't be scared if you don't do things in the right order, or if you don't do some things at all. I didn't think I'd have a child before I got married, but hey, it turned out that way, and I wouldn't change a thing. I didn't think I'd have dessert before breakfast today, but hey, it turned out that way, and I wouldn't change a thing. So if I could impart any advice, it's this. If you have a checklist, good for you. Structured ambition can sometimes be motivating, but also feel free to let it go. Yes, my culminating advice for my speech is a song from the Disney animated movie Frozen.